Hey everybody, welcome to the Goots' Wrestling Pod. I am your host, Ray Goots, and I'm here with Kyle Lewis. Kyle, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, good. Pratik, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Ray, and I'm loving that NWO Christmas sweater.
Yeah, Wolfpack. Wolfpack is for the children. It's also for Santa Claus.
For your audio listeners, they may not know what you're wearing.
Oh, I'm wearing a NWO Wolfpack Christmas sweater from 2018, back when WWE still made good clothes as opposed to this Fanatics crap. So they're 2018, they made so much, and it was affordable, and it was just crazy. Kyle, do you still have any Christmas sweaters from WWE, or you didn't do that?
No, I didn't really do Christmas sweaters, but I every time I go to the page, I first of all I can't find anything. It's not just me getting older, like it's just so jumbled than
Yeah.
how it
Hmm.
used to be. And then the shirts, I wanted to get one. I like shirts with like a picture of like a match or a move on it. I wanted to get like a Bret Hart. I think he's doing like the sharpshooter to somebody, like the finishing move collection that they had. And that was like $40. I was like, come on, man, like
Oh, it used to
ridiculous.
be like I used to be able to get like 4 or 5 shirts for like, and these are like shirts they just made for like $10 each or something. And I mean, I bought so many shirts in 2018, just an ungodly amount. And they fit great, and now it's like even if the stuff was affordable, it's so poor, it's so shitty. And that's the thing. It's made way it's way worse quality, and it's so much more money. You know.
Hmm.
You don't want to wear a shirt that says "Run that ish back."
I mean, maybe one, not too.
I'm
Uh,
holding up for my tribal thief shirt. That well, they
Some
got
of
rid of
these
the
shirts are
Nikes
just
now.
like,
They're changing that shirt too. So hold on to the old ones.
oh yeah, they got in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these shirts are just like, who is this for? Like, you're the only like you can't wear a shirt that says "Tribal Thief" out in the streets.
fucking no, no. She shouldn't wear that shirt. Should not wear that shirt. Speaking of things you shouldn't do, you shouldn't sign Andrade without checking with the lawyers. This is why you have a legal department, as you know, not just to sue CM Punk uh, or whatever, or to investigate him. Andrade debuted 2 weeks ago on AEW, attacking Kenny Omega. The crowd went mild. Nobody really cares.
I think they cared. They kind of
It was
reacted.
a it was a it was a good little pop, crowd pop moment.
I have to say I think the ship has sailed with Andrade, but whatever. So he came out, he did his thing. It turns out that he's not licensed to leave yet. He was fired, and WWE is like, since you're fired, you have a 90-day compete because you didn't do the right thing by us. So you can't just go to AEW. They sent AEW cease and desist letter, and he's back in Guantanamo Bay. Kyle, your thoughts on this fuck up with Andrade?
I thought like if you're fired, you're fired. In my opinion, you shouldn't have to sit out personally, but somebody between both legal teams, because I heard WWE didn't even know themselves. Somebody should have been doing their due diligence and they didn't. Not to just rag on AEW, but if you're gonna put him on TV, you should really make sure that you can put him on TV. And nobody did, and they're lucky nothing got worse. But I think Andrade, if you got fired, he should be able to go wherever he wants.
Your thoughts, critique.
Yeah, it's that thing of, especially considering AEW has said in the past that, Hunter or somebody from WWE had reached out before their deals had expired, and they had accused AEW had accused WWE of contract tampering. This is egg on the face of Khan and AEW and their lawyers, because I'm like, yeah, I figured like when he showed up on TV, oh, maybe he had negotiated a no 90-day or no 60-day, and maybe they just done that work ahead of time. Because, like, yeah, again, when was the last time somebody showed up on TV and they didn't do their due diligence? Like, how did this slip through the cracks with the way AEW's been fairly on point when it comes to that stuff, and they've been preaching no contract tampering. So this really does make Tony Khan look like, just it makes him look a bit foolish. I thought maybe there was some backstage. I didn't know the full extent of this. I thought maybe, he's already having backstage issues. That's why they've taken away. But no, they just straight up didn't do their due diligence. It's I really do want to, support AEW, but yeah, this is unfortunate because it just nobody looks good in this situation.
Um, yeah, I get that you don't want, like, for example, like Roman Reigns like punches Triple H and Triple H fires him, and then he shows up on Dynamite. I get that because then it's like I get that. I get like that's a way to like just fuck over every, like, you get my point. Like, that's something that these wrestlers can hold in their back pocket. I don't like what you're doing, so I'm gonna get fired and then immediately be on Dynamite wrestling Hangman Page.
Right.
I get it.
I
Because
like
you
that.
the thing about it is there's gonna be a top guy that's gonna do that. And I mean, basically, CM Punk did that to AEW, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, and I don't think he had a no compete. I think
Yeah,
they
I don't
just
think
let
he
him
had a
go.
90-day or 60-day or whatever.
And sometimes you have to think, especially now with how good everything is going, did he take it to the next level to get out of his contract? In other words, like his fight with our best friend Jungle Bunny, Jungle Boy, whatever the fuck his name is.
He's just Jungle Jack Perry now.
I just call him Jungle Boy. Like,
I call him Luke Perry Jr.
because he knew, like, I'm gonna get out of this, and then I can just show up in WWE at Survivor Series, right? He saw it on the calendar, and
He saw it.
but like, that's a possibility, and that works both ways. I mean, Tony Khan, so Hangman Page is like, I don't fucking like it here anymore, and Tony, you're really like, I don't think I'm being treated right. And then fucking Hangman Page like fucking clotheslines Matt Buck in the back, and then next thing you know, he's main eventing WrestleMania with Cody. Like, it's both ways. So I know both companies need to do something about it, but I don't know. Like, do you put in the contract you can work anywhere but AEW, or you can work anywhere in WWE? I don't know if that's legally binding.
I
Um,
think they used to do that. They used to do that. Like if somebody left, they
mhm.
couldn't go to TNA. They couldn't go to somebody with like a TV deal or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
WWE
remember
used to do
who it
that.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know about other companies, but I feel like I could see Vince and his lawyers pushing, like, no, you
Hmm.
can't go here. If I'm not mistaken, because I remember Punk talked about on the Cabana podcast years ago that him and Del Rio's clause when he re-signed with WWE after the pipe bomb, specifically in him and Del Rio's clause, it said something like no TNA and no UFC because they were televised combat. So it's funny how certain guys got certain rules and certain guys didn't get rules.
I'm wondering if that, like, if you go to a lawyer, like if I get a job at like Home Depot and they're like, you can't go work at Kohl's. I'm wondering if that like like you can legally enforce that. Like, well, what if Kohl's offers me a ton of money? I can't fucking go. You know what I'm saying?
I
Maybe
think
it can. Maybe that's also same thing. Like, hey, if you're an executive at Coke, you can't fucking attack somebody and then go work at Pepsi. I don't know. Maybe it works both ways. I don't
I
know.
think you can because I think that's what Brock Lesnar did, right? Brock Lesnar
Brock Lesnar
wasn't
fought it.
allowed to work
Yeah.
for like 10 years, and
Hmm.
then he was able to he got a lawyer, they figured it out, and he
Absolutely.
went to New Japan first. Then he went to New Japan.
Yeah.
Almost went to TNA, but they had no money for him.
Well, I'll also say this. I think that I don't. Who cares about Andrade? I would let him go to AEW because he's not going to make a difference, and he's probably going to be a headache again. But I think the reason why they're enforcing this is so that Roman Reigns doesn't get fired or someone like that. Roman Reigns doesn't get fired and then immediately show up at AEW, fucking, you know,
No,
asking
yeah,
to acknowledge him.
I
So
think
I
for
think
like
that's
a
you're
major
right.
player, it makes sense. Like Andrade wasn't.
they've got it with a loser like Andrade, so the major player doesn't do. You get what I'm saying? Because if it's like, well, you let Andrade go, so you have to let me, Seth Rollins or whoever, or whoever, Cody, Seth Rollins, Drew. You let Andrade do that. Why can't I do it? And you're like, shit. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
The
Yeah.
rumor now is that Andrade might be out for a year for breaching his contract. Like he won't be able to wrestle for a year.
Oh well, hey, look, I think I don't care. Like, I know it sounds bad. I just don't think he matters. If I was Tony, it's almost like I would have rushed to show Andrade because I would have rushed to show Roman Reigns, but I would not have. I would have like, let's really make sure this is okay, and they didn't do it, which is dumb because I don't think he's worth the headache. You know.
So can he wrestle even like indies or non-televised things, or is it completely? Do you think it's completely done for him? Like he can't wrestle anywhere.
Right now, they haven't said anything, but people might not even want to book him. You know, they don't want to even
It's
deal
a
with
it's a bit of
whatever.
a stink. Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah. It also it definitely on him too. He needs to be aware of his his contract and all that. I still don't even know what exactly was it, like a wellness violation. That's why he got fired from WWE. Like that.
That's what people were saying, like multiple wellness violations, which I don't know how many people have actually been fired 3 times because of wellness. I know people, like Carlito got let go, Maga got let go because of refusal to go into rehab, but those were releases. Like the termination, I don't think it ever really happened
Oh,
because Jeff Hardy was already out of the company before his. Randy Orton confessed that he did something, so they didn't let him go because they knew if
didn't he
he
like
went,
work
he would
off
have
a
go.
strike or something?
Yeah, something like that. Otherwise, he would have been in TNA in like '07, and we would have been talking about a very different Randy
Randall
Orton.
O.
Yes, I think that's his real name. He would have been
Yeah,
able to
yeah,
use
yeah.
it, but so I don't think anyone's actually been fired from the wellness policy until
Mhm. This TKO
Andrade.
stuff there.
Yeah.
Well, screw him. All right, let's get to WCW.
Do you
So
not want to talk about Seth Rollins being out for
yeah, I
maybe
forgot.
past WrestleMania? Your best friend.
So Seth Rollins thankfully has been injured, and hopefully
I
it's
didn't say
fake.
that. Did
Jesus.
not say that part.
Year ending, and we never have to look at him again because he's a piece of shit that sucks. I will tell you, bro. I haven't watched a Raw since SummerSlam, and I'm probably gonna watch Raw on Monday now that I know that he's injured because a Raw with Braun Breaker or Punk is the champ is such a better Raw. So he's injured. He's out for months. I think he stinks. This is the best thing for the show. The show has been awful with him as the centerpiece. This guy has talked for 20 minutes in front of thousands of people for 10 years, has not gotten better at it at all. He's an embarrassment. I think he stinks. He's one of the worst top guys in wrestling history. And I can't overstate how much I think he sucks. So good riddance. Kyle, your thoughts?
I don't dislike him like that. I definitely think it shakes things up because I was ready to after they beat them down again. I was ready to turn on like a PlayStation or something. I was like, well, another Raw with the Vision, and then the spear happened, and I was like, wait, what? And then that actually like brought some excitement, much needed excitement to Raw and WWE. Sucks that it comes at the cost of an injury, but I'm curious to see what they do. Does Braun Breaker now lead the Vision or whatever they're gonna be called? I think they should make that group. I think I said this before when NXT 2.0 just started and it was Braun, Carmelo, Grayson Waller, and maybe LA Knight. I forgot who the other person was. Oh, Tony D'Angelo. So I think you could like I think that would be cool to have these like young guys like kicking ass and then taking on the CM Punks and stuff of the world. But I think it's a nice shakeup, unfortunately, at the expense of Seth Rollins. But people want to see what happens on Raw. Like you want to see what happens on Raw now because this vision thing was just not working
Yeah,
and we needed a change.
yeah, it wasn't working at all, and I hated every minute of it. And your thoughts, critique on the end of the career of this absolute loser, Seth Rollins.
I mean, I won't go as far as to call Seth Rollins like terrible. Like I think he's done he's waved the WWE flag for many years. I've always liked his in-ring work. I think the promo stuff was always something where he'd have these sparks of good promos. There'd be a good moment here and there. I thought the stuff with Punk, the promo back and forth between Punk, that kind of revitalized him a little bit. I think pre-Punk coming in, there was a little bit like, okay, what's the next step for him? What's he going to do? Oh, he's going to fight Roman again. Oh, he's going to fight this guy again. Blah, blah, blah. It kind of felt repetitive. So to me, he was a great foil for Punk coming in, and there's real life heat there. I like their promo exchange. I like their matches. And then the turn at Mania, which Ray and I, we were there for that, where Paul turned. I thought that was executed perfectly, and then just something with the vision. Just I don't know why it wasn't clicking, because the sad thing is I like Bronson Reed and I like Braun Breaker, but something with them together, and even Heyman too. Like I like this idea of Heyman turning heel again, but for some reason, just week to week, it wasn't working. And then there was a bit of life in with the worked injury, him coming at SummerSlam, taking the title from Punk getting finally a title win in this run, and him getting it ripped away. That was exciting, but then literally the next night on Raw, I lost interest. So it's funny, like he's had these moments, this Vision has had moments, and then all of a sudden just steam let loose. So yes, I think this was a turn that was needed. Something was needed. I don't know if they need to. People are saying bring in Brock Lesnar as the lead. I don't really see Brock Lesnar leading a faction. That doesn't really make sense to me. I like kind of what Kyle was saying. Maybe bring in like a couple more guys, like a Austin Theory or someone like who hasn't been doing anything. Like make this like a young guy faction and just beat the fuck out of everybody. Like maybe do that. Have Heyman behind. I think Carmelo Hayes actually would be a good one, because he's kind of been floundering. I don't know if he is on SmackDown or he needs to be traded or whatever. They'll have to work through that. But yeah, I think there's something there. Bronson Reed just got a win over Roman too. He's looking strong. These guys are looking strong, but yeah, they need something. I don't know if putting the title on Breaker or Reed is the right step right now. I think they just need to keep having good matches with main eventers as opposed to throwing titles on them. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the title. It looks like Punk might defend it, or not defend it. He might fight for it on the main event. That's on November 1st, I believe, whatever that first Saturday is. So is it just like, are they going to do a tournament now? Or remains to be seen. I feel like there's too many tournaments going on, so I don't know if a tournament is the right call. Like they could do something to fill the vacancy, or maybe Seth somehow wills it together and has one more final match on main event. I don't know, but I feel like this injury is pretty serious, so I don't see that happening. So yes, to the point at hand, I'm excited and I want to see what they're going to do. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I hope that this is the end of his life.
Every the views expressed by Goots do not reflect always.
No.
And all his promos are the same. This Paul Heyman thing hasn't helped him.
But Ray, you didn't like the back and forth between Punk and Rollins. Like those promos were pretty.
That was great, but it's dude, it's 10 months later, and he's still just going on and on about Punk leaving in 2014. All right, who gives a shit? He's been back now for 2 fucking years. Like, do you have something like it's still like yeah, it was great like a year ago. It was great 2 years ago, right? But it's like that's all you have is you're
a cancer. Like yeah, he does throw the cancer word out quite a
pretty good impression.
Yeah.
It's just like, do you got anything else? Do you like anything? Like, like they still could, even like after they fuck each other over in title offer, they're still just going on about him leaving in 2014. It's like that was great.
Also hoping, I really liked his first run with the WWE heavyweight title. He was doing great matches every week. I think he was going at NXT too and facing guys too. Like it just feels like, okay, he got the ball again. He got the title. Like I was expecting more match quality, and just I don't know. Something wasn't clicking with this title run. I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger. I was also expecting at one point we were going to get a Gunther Seth Rollins. We still haven't seen a proper Gunther Seth Rollins match during this whole thing. But I think Gunther.
Oh no, I gotta put the fucking belt back on Gunther. All right.
It feels like Gunther becomes like, all right, it's not working. Put it back on Gunther. Yeah.
You know what? That to get the belt. That'll really shock everyone.
Who should get the belt?
Andrade.
I mean, he's has to work for a year. Make him work, I guess. What about John Cena? What if John Cena gets an 18th?
So this is what I would do. I would do Cena Punk again at Saturday's main event. I would have Cena win the belt, and then I'd have Braun Breaker retire Cena, and win the belt on the final match.
Do you add a date? John Cena, he doesn't have enough dates. He's only working the 13th.
Give him an extra date. I mean,
he's also working Survivor. I think he has like 4 dates left, right? He has the Raw,
2 Raws, and then Survivor.
Yeah, he has the Raw in Boston, the Raw in MSG, and then Survivor Series. So you have to add him to main event.
They just added dates by now because it's like, why do I don't have to stick to this. I can do whatever I want. Here's more money. I'm Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes no like you almost do need to add like 2 or 3 more days on his goodbye tour.
I'm
And
also I just feel like the AJ match, like I don't think you're gonna top that AJ for Cena. I don't I'm that should have been the final match.
I think having a legit Punk Cena match where they're wrestling like because they were trying to tell a story that wasn't working
Yeah,
at the last.
the heel run, which was good.
I think having one last time and then would be good. I just think like at this point where when Warrior left, Vince said I'm never working with Sid again. Right? Fuck that guy. And then when Warrior pulled his bullshit '96, he did what he could to get Sid back, and he got a great year out of Sid. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when you have a thing like this where it's like Seth Rollins is injured, why my plan is up in the air, you fucking go with a checkbook and you go, hey Cena, I need to add 3 more days. How many zeros? And you just make it work because I know what you said and I know what everybody said. Well, like, oh, but like at this point, it's like, yeah, we need to change things up because this fucking guy got injured. My plan, I need the plans to be even bigger than what I was going to do. And I think that's what happened in '96 with Sid by him swallowing his pride and going back to Sid. I think it made Sid bigger and it helped the company a lot in that year.
No, I agree. I think if John Cena's movie schedule allows it, I think why not, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think Mania makes more sense to go because it was also this thing of okay, he's going to retire in his hometown of Boston, but that's not even happening anymore. It's in the final matches in Washington D.C. So
Which
I
they
don't know.
fumbled too, apparently. There were like 50,000 people in line for the Ticketmaster trying to get tickets. They could have easily sold out a stadium or something in Boston or something, but made more money since they love money so much.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they did this stupid arena, and half the people are
Well,
gonna be priced out.
I'll tell you who doesn't love money. I'll tell you who
There
did
we
not.
go.
It is the WCW management who was doing all they start around this time. They started doing all they can to chase people. There's so many little things that they just if they went left instead of right. Right now, they'd be selling out arenas for the retirement of John Cena, not WWFE. Um, and this show is a perfect example. This show, do you know like the aftermath of this show, Kyle and Pratik? Do you know what happens because of the ending of this show?
I don't remember. Then is
Yeah, I don't
that the one
remember.
Ric Flair says that like they never sold again, like in that area?
It kills their drawing. So it kills the drawing power of the South. This is what kills the loyalty of the Southern viewers. This
For
finish.
WCW, interesting.
So whatever happened with WCW throughout the years, no matter they had a loyal Southern audience in Winston Salem and in other places. There was a loyalty there. People were like, I don't care, I'm a WCW guy, right? And this finish and the fact that they never resolve it, killed the South, killed a lot of the loyalty, and that eventually leads to the death of WCW. And a lot of those Southern fans, and I always thought this, and I've heard it now in podcasts. A lot of fans who in the South who only watch WCW never watch wrestling again when WCW went out of business. And this is what starts them turning to their fans. And overall, I don't think it's the worst show, but that finish, especially because I forgot when you realize how well received the Arn Anderson retirement thing was a few weeks before this. Um, I think the finish is it's just one NWO screw job too many. Kyle, your thoughts on overall the show and the finish?
I think overall the show, it's a really well wrestled show, at least the undercard. It shows a great example of like how deep WCW's roster was with Jericho, Guerrero, Alex Wright, Ultimo Dragon, even Mortis and Raph have like a pretty decent match, with the Mang and the Barbarian,
Yeah.
and then it goes into the NWO territory, and it's like, it's all right, and then the main event, which is like you said, one swerve too many. And we'll talk about it a little bit more later. One of the things that stood out to me in that whole thing was, I guess, the coming out party for Chris Benoit as like a top, as a should have been a top guy, because they really like pushed him as like the first in that match, and then like him fighting the cage, like trying to break through, really made him look like a warrior. But again, one swerve too many. Tony Giovanni looks like an idiot. He's just like, yeah, here it comes. Like you don't know. We all know already this is gonna happen, and they just kept doing this over and over and over again. And you were starting to get tired of it.
Yeah, Pratik, your thoughts on the show before we
Yeah,
get into it.
overall, I mean, it's one of those things where the undercard was definitely initially going into this. I'm like, oh, let's see what happens with this, you know, four horsemen, war games. Oh, it'll be interesting. But then, yeah, just the undercard tended to be a little more exciting for me than the actual main event. Like, yes, I like the idea. Like going into this pay per view, I like the recap video with sort of explaining everything. NWO doing that horseman parody, which was entertaining. But yeah, just I think the crowd really wasn't feeling that finish. You could literally like it was that lead balloon, just like it reminded me of this year's Mania Night too when Cena won, and just like lead balloon in the like just where people were just like, nope, we're not feeling this. And I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to build NWO heat in the Horseman backyard. I get all that, but just again, too many swerves, too many. I understand you're trying to serialize your product. You're trying to get people to watch Nitro on Monday to see what happens. But some things, too many swerves will end up not having people turn into Nitro. So I can definitely see why this could be a potential reasoning for why sort of the South turns on WCW. It definitely makes sense, and it's a shame because I was really trying to get into the war game stuff, but yeah, just once too many swerves and too many handcuffs. Also, it was yeah, and then also like well we'll get into the main event later. I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, too many handcuffs and too many swerves.
I think that the reason why the NWO angle was so exciting at the beginning was that it's WWE versus WCW, right? And that's kind of what they didn't want to say it, but that's what they're doing, right? And I think what and even I believe this that the end game of this angle is WCW is better than WWF, WWE. Luger, Sting, Flair, Arn Anderson, they come out on top over these WWF guys, right? And people went for the ride because they're like, well, eventually the WCW guys are gonna get one over, and then they don't, and then they don't, and then when you listen to Eric Bischoff clearly believed the WWF guys were like better. He does not like the Horsemen. He thinks everything WCW did before Hogan showed up was garbage, and that's just not true. And
Yeah.
eventually, it's just like, oh yeah, I guess WWF is better than WCW. Let me just go watch WWF, and then that's it. It's like, the heart of WCW was Sting, Luger, and Flair, and I was thinking to myself like, who would have been a better horseman? Like Luger had a history with the horseman, which they never ever bring up. And I also realized this, guys, Sting, Luger, and Flair never get on the same page ever, ever again. I think they're on the same page at the very beginning of this angle. And then they never get on the same page ever again. They barely interact. If they do, it's like Flair and Luger versus Sting, or Sting, Luger versus Flair, or they're all fighting. And then the company goes out of business. And it's like the big finish should have been like like Luger, Flair, and Sting finally make up
Triumphant. Yeah.
make amends for all the issues they've had with one another throughout the fucking since the company began. And they destroy the NWO with the help of the newer guys, with Jericho and Guerrero. Like it's all there. It's all there. You just keep going out of your way to help Vince McMahon at this point, and it's just like I don't. It's just like insane to me. Kyle, really quick, what do you think?
No, I think they had a great formula that I mean they could have. And we talked about it before, we'll try to talk about it again till the year's end. There was a big layup of Sting just helping demolish the NWO and then kind of getting things back to somewhat of normalcy. And even if that didn't happen the exact way, or maybe Sting had the help of a Jericho, Guerrero, Mysterio very popular. One of these guys, we could have built new stars and you could have had just a plethora of new stars that people care about that are not while the Hacksaws and the Savage can still go. We're on their way out. You have now here's Jericho, here's Mysterio, here's Benoit, here's Malenko. Just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. They were winning. Why change what works when you're winning in certain people's minds? And we saw what happened there.
Yeah. Yeah, critique your thoughts.
Yeah, it sounded like kind of what you're saying, Kyle. Like we're Bischoff was just looking at the T-shirt sales and like, oh, NWO, they're doing well, they're over, and then you had the stuff with like the celebrities coming in, Rodman coming in. So I understand why he was kind of keeping things on NWO. But what I've been going back and watching these papers, seeing how the crowd reacts to like a Jericho or Mysterio, and the crowd is really into them. Or Booker T also. The crowd, even that racist Sturgis crowd, they're going nuts for Booker T. Like these guys, these newer stars are getting over, and yeah, there could have easily been like an Avenger team up of all the young baby faces surrounding Sting, and they could have had like a moment like that. I don't think the foresight was there. I think a lot of this was short term booking versus long term booking, long term. It didn't seem like there was a end really planned out, which we could say that for other companies as well. That's not just a WCW problem. That's a overall problem. Is how do you effectively do long term storytelling? And yeah, it just seems like they were building to something that didn't really fully come. And there's some other pay-per-views coming where we can emphasize that a little bit more. But yeah, it's yeah.
The two segments on Nitro that people like really like loved and like really meant something to people are Arn Anderson's retirement and Flair's "Fire Me, I'm Already Fired," which is in a year, right? And I think the reason why those two moments resonate with people is because it plays up the history of NWA, WCW, and celebrates it. And I think both moments are squashed right away, and you're told, which is wild to me, you're told over and over again how great WrestleMania 3 was or WrestleMania 6 was on Nitro. Like when Warrior shows up, they go on and on and on and on and on about that WrestleMania 6 match, which is not that's not, you don't own the rights to that match. Like who gives a fuck about that match? Like, and they do the same thing. They'll go on and on about Hogan slamming Andre, and they almost act like that's their history now. And it's like, no, bro, like you gotta celebrate Arn Anderson. You gotta celebrate fucking Flair, the Horseman, Dusty. That's your history, not WrestleMania 3 or WrestleMania 6. And again, I remember in Nitro where this is 98, Bobby Heenan just going on about how great WrestleMania the Warrior was at WrestleMania 6. And I'm like, well, now I want to go watch WrestleMania 6. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Tell me how great Starrcade 83 was. Why, you fucking morons? Can you imagine? Can you imagine in 1997, like, fucking Vince McMahon going on about how great Vader did at Starrcade 92? Can you fucking imagine that? No, it doesn't. Starrcade 92 doesn't exist in Vince McMahon's.
Yeah.
I mean, they just started mentioning like TNA and AEW and things like that. Now, they never mentioned AEW. Maybe once they actually said
Sami Zayn famously mentioned he was
Besides
given
that
clearance
one.
to. The story with that is he was given clearance to, but then because he brought it up on his own, like he got heat for it immediately because it's such a.
Well, I'll tell you the best use of talking about another company was when John Cena said, "I want you to bring back CM Punk, and if you don't, you can fire me." But I know a place like Nintendo that's hiring, brother.
I remember that too.
TNA, and that was a really cool way to incorporate TNA, and having Cena mention it was cool.
Yeah, no, that's.
They wouldn't be able to afford them, but it was cool.
I know, right? You ever hear the story? Brock Lesnar goes, "I'll come in if you. All I want is making what you make." Kurt Angle, how much you making?
For Kurt Angle, yes, yeah. And they could.
And this is when he was in UFC. I'll come in for that, and they went no.
The shame, yeah. I mean, you have the prime Brock Lesnar.
James Storm, you gotta go. Robert Roode, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here.
We would have gotten like a prime Brock Lesnar or a prime Samoa Joe submission match. That would have been There's a bunch of matches with like
what they would have done, because they're lunatics, is they would have had Brock versus Sting, and Sting would have died in 12 seconds. Like he literally would have died, and right now Brock would be in prison because that's what TNA would have done. They would have like fucking put Brock in Sting. Although I would love it. I think Hogan would have tried to get his win back.
He would. It would have been like, instead of that Hogan Bubba Ray street fight, it would have been Brock and Hogan.
In a street fight, yeah.
Yeah, so I think, you know, Hogan was toying with the idea of Bubba Ray wrestling him, and then he's like, "It's fucking Bubba Ray, dude." I think that's what he said in his head, like, "It's fucking Bubba Ray. I'm not gonna do it." But I think if it was Brock, he would have done it. He would have had that last match. Brock. I would have been great. Would have been great. I'm all about. I would love Hogan just to have squashed Brock Lesnar in 2013. Hilarious. He should squash him now. Fucking all right. Let's get to.
Okay.
Speaking of Hogan, who was not on the show.
No, he's not on the show. Let's get into this. Can't even blame him for the shitty finish. We can blame Nash. All right. So it's Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho. It's the first match on the show. This is a WCW Cruiserweight Classic. This is all it's about. These guys are doing moves that you've never seen before. It goes 17 minutes, plenty of time, a hot start. Probably just as good, if not better, than anything you're going to see at Ground Zero earlier in the month. I love this match. Fantastic. Eddie Guerrero is really hitting his stride. He's got more confidence. He's got more muscular. He's kicking ass. Jericho's getting more confident. These are two guys coming into their own on live TV. I love the match. Kyle, your thoughts?
Great match. I mean, you can't go wrong with Jericho and Guerrero. I remember even like a couple years ago, or maybe the year before, it's in Jericho's book, where the two of them have a match and the crowd sits on their hands the entire time. So to see them have this match where the crowd is into both wrestlers, Eddie Guerrero, like you said, is coming to his own as a heel. The singlet is gone, the ripped body and the scowls on his face. Just great all around. Great all around.
Critique?
Yeah, again, like echoing everything that's been said, great all around, good counters, again, creative submissions, creative moves. And yeah, there's that thing of like, these two had a match like, months ago, and just, it's a complete night and day from that other match. And I just think, yeah, you're seeing guys who ultimately become like main eventers in a different company, but you're seeing the start of like these young guys, and the crowd is actually getting on their side. The crowd wants to like news. They want to like new guys. They want to like fresh guys, and you're seeing that with this match. And I think, yeah, I don't know. It's good that it's almost like WCW was pacing their cards a little bit better than WWF at that time in terms of the undercard. Like this was a great way to start a paper, and I wasn't seeing that from WWF at the time.
I mean, it was no Max Mini, but it was
no,
So formula when WCW, I talk about WCW's formula a lot, where it's the cruise. It starts with the cruiserweight technical cutting edge match, and then it ends with like the more storyline centered event. It's a fantastic formula. Like it's it's like you get like a little buffet of all these different wrestling styles.
Yes.
As soon as they move away from it, everything collapses. But they get it. I'll tell you when they get it, when they finally master it, is Bash at the Beach '96. And then this run of shows, it's just such a good, like, even like, because the way they format the cards, even the stinky matches aren't that bad, like it's just such a good way of doing. And then they kind of forget how they forget how they did that. Up next, this is the thing that actually kind of hurts the show a lot for me. Larry Zbyszko joins the commentary. We haven't had Larry Zbyszko on a pay-per-view in a while. Now Larry Zbyszko in the past, when I've heard him on commentary, is not that bad. However, he knows he's here on this show to get himself over later on in the show. And that's what he does for most of the show. He talks over Heenan so much to the point Heenan stops talking for most of the show. Most of the show is Tony and Zbyszko, and Heenan is sitting there probably with a flask, wishing he was back in WWE. What the other? I was thinking about Larry Zbyszko during this show, and they do so much to get him over in this angle, in the next few months, and it works. He does get over, but then he just vanishes, and it does it after the January match. It doesn't matter again. But they are putting so much effort in getting this fucking guy over. But it's like, why don't you do this with someone who's younger? Kyle, what do you think of Larry Zbyszko on commentary? I kind of think it hurts the show.
I didn't really like him then when he was on commentary. I remember his big feud with Scott Hall. I was not a big fan of it. So it's just more of the same. Something that I remembered as a kid that I didn't like, and I don't like it now. So It's just
Yeah.
I could have done without him.
Critique.
Yeah, I didn't care for either. I definitely noticed like, oh yeah, like Brain is kind of getting quiet now. I think it was just the talking over. I noticed the talking over a little bit, and it's a shame because Brain on commentary has been great. I also like the dynamic between like when Dusty was on the Road Wild thing. I don't know, are they like switching out commentators on different pay-per-views or
Dusty is going to soon not be a commentator. And then he's going to get fired and he's going to go to EC. So he he's phasing out. 98 it becomes Tanae, Heenan, and Shivani full
and
time.
Shivani? Yes, yeah. It's a shame because whenever watching Road Wild and some of the other pay-per-views for Dusty was great on commentary. I don't know if it was something he just didn't want to do. Or he was getting phased out, but it's a shame because Dusty had a good way of educating people on the younger stars and really getting people over. So it's a shame.
Dusty Dusty was but much better than Larry Zbyszko. Larry Zbyszko just steamrolls everybody.
Yeah,
I think I got the sense that Heenan found him to be very annoying. That's the thing. When he doesn't have a guy when he doesn't like you, he just
shuts down.
Yeah, he doesn't like try to like get one. He's just and that says more than anything he could have said. So, it's weird. There's makes because I'm enjoying the action, but it's noticeable. It's like there's a weird tension here that I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, but I love it. I love it. Okay, let's get to the next match. It's Steiners versus Harlem Heat. This was a heavy hitting match, and I really enjoyed it. Watching Braun Breaker, I definitely think there's a world where Rick Steiner or Scott, if they had gone to WWF in the '80s, could have been that over there. I mean, these guys, they're hitting hard. They're hitting almost so hard that most people can't catch up. But the Harlem Heat is catching up. These two teams have great chemistry. I always thought Scott Steiner and Booker T have great chemistry, especially when they get in their singles matches. I mean, I thought the fact that they had the final world title match very fitting. I'll enjoy that match in the final Nitro. I really enjoyed this tag match. The Steiner brothers win. Kyle, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a hard hitting match. That was a good one. They fight a couple months before, right? I think we watched one of them. I don't know if it was Sturgis or Bash. They have a match that's kind of like, eh. I want to say it
Mhm.
was the Steiner brothers in Harlem Heat. We're all just like, no, we
Yeah,
expect better from those teams, and this was better. So maybe
yeah,
just the atmosphere and just the story and the timing was better this time for everyone. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself.
critique. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Yeah, same things. Just it was. I know they had faced each other a few months before, and yeah, this was just a better match, hard hitting. It worked, tighter on time. I think it was about 10 minutes. I'm looking here. Yeah, about 11:44. And again, like just everything kind of clicked. And again, yeah, you mentioned it. Scott and Booker T have this like amazing chemistry that kind of follows them throughout the rest of their WCW career, and it's nice to see that here. And you see these elements of like this is quality tag team wrestling. And yes, this would have worked fine on WWF, but again, I don't think Vince cared a lot about tag team wrestling at this point. But again, like that's what was good about this era of WCW is they highlighted these great tag teams. And yeah, this was a great match. I'm liking Booker T with the short hair and the Yankees hat. I think that was a good look for him. It's something I haven't seen in a while, just because Booker T doesn't look like that anymore. But yeah, it was nice to see throwback to short haired Booker T. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So Bruce Pritchard had an idea in '93 that Scott Steiner would win the Royal Rumble and then win the belt. And he wanted to push Scott Steiner as a top 7 guy. Vince didn't see it, and Scott Steiner didn't want to break up with Rick. I think when you watch Braun Breaker and see what he's doing, I think this was Bruce Pritchard's dream of what he would do, what he would have done with Scott Steiner in '93. So I think, Bruce Pritchard is something to be a fat idiot, but I think his instincts were right in '93 to just do Scott Steiner out of nowhere as a top guy. But I don't know, Scott Steiner, I don't know, was mentally ready for it. But and Vince definitely wasn't mentally ready for it. But I see the vision and I like it. You know what I'm saying, Kyle?
You like that vision? That's the kind of vision you
That's
like.
the.
I think Braun Breaker is what Bruce Pritchard would have done with Scott Steiner. So
I think
Yeah.
Braun is definitely mentally ready, and I think Braun also he has like the right
Mhm.
elements of Rick and Scott, and I think he's also just a little more leaner and agile. Like he really is just there's
Like,
something about the athletics. Like I enjoy
yeah, he's like Ultimo Steiner, you know.
a little bit. I like it. Yeah.
I love, I love it. All right, now up next, Alex Wright versus Ultimo Dragon. Now, hey, technically, yeah, this match was good, but Alex Wright just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it, and they give this match a lot of time, 18 minutes. And Ultimo tries, man, and I don't know. I wanted to like it. I want to like Alex Wright. I want Alex Wright to. I wanted him to have more in life, and instead, I want him to have the career. I want him to get all the chances Seth Rollins got, but he just doesn't have it. And this match is just okay, but it's long. It feels like a time. And Alex Wright wins, and I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to get him over, but I think instead of doing this, I think Alex Wright should have been beating like I don't know Hugh Morris or someone a little bit bigger, to get him over. This just didn't work for me. Kyle, what do you think? What do you think?
I maybe had some grading on a curve for Alex Wright because I like Alex Wright in the dance and all that other stuff. But I didn't mind this match too much. They did make a note that the match was longer because I know TV title matches are usually like 15 minutes, maybe
Well,
20.
on TV, yeah.
Yeah. So they made a note that like this match is a little longer because it's on a pay-per-view. Um, I was surprised Alex Wright won. It seemed like a big win. It seemed like a foregone conclusion, but I forgot they were pushing right at the time as a new heel, a non-NWO heel. Yeah, I didn't think it was terrible, but it was long.
Yeah. It was yeah, it was what it was. Critique your thoughts on this match.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it was a bit too long. They could have shaved off a few more minutes from it, but again, I know what they were trying to do. I mean, I will give. I think at the time, it's good to note that WCW is trying to give newer guys some chance to shine, especially on a pay per view, especially on an undercard match like this. But yeah, it worked in some ways. I think credit to Ultimo Dragon for just trying to work and make it work. But yeah, I just it yeah, maybe like 5 minutes too long. We could have shaved a little bit of time off. They could have gone home a little early. I wouldn't have had a problem with it.
Yeah. All right. So now we got Mean Gene plugging the hotline. He's going to tell you what Arn Anderson thought of the parody. I will tell you, Arn didn't mind it too much, except for one or two lines. However, he did find out that the person who wrote the entire thing was Terry Taylor, and I think he didn't like that. I think he kind of thought like this was just. I think he thought he was friends with Terry Taylor. A lot of people don't like Terry Taylor. So that's his thoughts. I don't know if that was on the hotline down the road on his podcast when I used to listen to it. Nash and the Wolfpack run by him. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig is injured on the ground. He's hurt. Oh my God, is Mr. Perfect going to make the main event? I guess. I mean, I have known this finish for 20. I've never seen the show before, by the way, but I've known about this finish for years. So I was just like, whatever. But I do think it's kind of a clever thing to do to the crowd and stuff. It's a clever little journey. It didn't land right, but it is a clever little journey. Kyle, your thoughts on this little angle?
I think because back then the question of the year was always Sting. Will Sting show up? Will Sting show up? Will Sting show up? So taking out Mr. Perfect, Sting helping the Horsemen was probably like the idea that fans got in their head, more so than the swerve. So I
Yeah,
get them doing that, and that's cool. But we got what we got instead.
yeah. And Pratik, your thoughts on the little angle?
Yeah, it's that thing of it's trying again, like you just said. They're trying to really push this idea of Henning is injured. They injured him, so to try to protect the swerve, they're really interested in this swerve, so they're doing all they can. So I got what they're trying to do with this. These backstage angles. It was quick. It was fine. It's to set up what's coming later, but yeah, I don't think the ultimate result panned out. But yes, I got what they were trying to do.
You picked up what they were putting down. Okay,
I
up
picked up what
next.
they're putting down. It's fine.
Up
It's a quick little.
uh, just another example of why Jeff Jarrett is a loser, like Seth Rollins, and just doesn't have it. Jeff Jarrett versus Dean Malenko. This is another long one, and they do all the right things, but man, there's something missing. Malenko's trying. I mean, Malenko's on a hot streak. He's trying. And technically everything's right, everything's good, but Jeff Jarrett, he ain't it, and he wins. But here's the thing: he's leaving in a month, and he's going to WWF. He's going to cut a promo shitting all over WCW and Austin, which fucks him over by doing that. So it's like, hey, did you not know this guy was leaving? Did he pull one of Jeff Jarrett's the type of guy. This is Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett's the type of that is so nice to you. He will fucking give you the shirt off his back. He will come pick you up if you crash your car. He'll do everything he can. But then there's one moment where you're like, hey Jeff, can I get back that dollar I lent you? And then he will fucking jam a shiv into your throat and watch you bleed out on the ground. And that's what he is. When the moment comes to fucking fuck you over, he does it without hesitation. And you're left blind. And time again, like when I hear him describe the moment, like when he decided to leave WWF in '95, it was just like, yeah, I don't like the fact that I had to break up a road dog, so I'm just leaving. I'm just going. Like when the time comes to fuck you, he fucks you. It doesn't look back. And that's another reason I don't really like him that much. Like he'll fuck you, and he act like he did it to Kurt Angle. He did it to everybody. He did it to Vince. He did it to Janelle Grant. He was pooping on her. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like him, and I don't like this match. Kyle, what'd you think of the match?
What you're saying is Jeff Jarrett is a comedy booker producer.
Yes, he is.
That is Jeff Jarrett. I didn't realize. I just looked it up that he left. He was in WWF by October 20th, and then he leaves again by October 17th, '99. So he's Andrade's got some competition, but
And he fucked over both companies.
yeah,
He leaves, but he makes sure that you could get fucked when he leaves. He always does
yeah.
that.
He's
Yeah.
in the top storyline, and he's like, "Oh well," but
Mm.
I think your dislike for Jarrett also definitely hurts this match for you. I didn't think it was that bad. Again, I think it was fine. I don't think it was like I don't think I tell anybody like, you have to go see this match. It's weird seeing Dean Malenko tap out and being the Iceman and such a submission, man of a thousand holds kind of guy, but. Yeah, it was all building to something that got ruined, so it's just kind of moot now. It's kind of a moot point, this whole match.
Pratik, your thought on the match?
Yeah, I mean everything that's said, I agree with, but it's also this thing of why I don't know if he's having clearly at this point they didn't know he was leaving or there was something with the contract because I don't think he needed this win. I think Dean could have used the win. I didn't like seeing. I was match itself. Jeff Jarrett issues aside, match itself was fine, but I think all the credit goes to Malenko, and I too like Kyle. I was a little disappointed to see him tap out. They could have just had a pin or something. Could have been another finish. I just didn't like seeing Dean tap out. I think Dean could have used the win. Given that he sticks around and is loyal, he should have gotten the win. So it was disappointing there. I don't know what was going on with the contract. I know the '99 WWF story, if I'm not mistaken, was that the final pay-per-view he held the title up for money basically, right? Like his contract was done in '99. So was that similar to this where he just kind of had a different contract and held him up for money or something? Is that the Jerry Jarrett playbook? Hold the booker up for money, basically.
He had money owed to him, and he wasn't. He thought he wasn't going to get it because Jim Ross wasn't very. Jim Ross didn't like him because of the Austin stuff. So Jim Ross kept blowing him off when he wanted to meet. And he basically was like, I'm going to go to Nitro tomorrow. But if I go to Nitro, they might try to fuck my money. So he basically was like, I'm not going out until you give me my money.
Yeah.
And because he thought Ross was going to fuck him. And, maybe. But
yeah.
But like I said, when Jeff Jarrett's ready to pull out the knife, he pulls out the knife. So. But before that though, he'll fucking I made you biscuits. I know you like biscuits. I'm gonna fucking stand it.
Isn't he like Taylor Swift's godfather or something? Like he's like family friends with Taylor Swift or something.
She babysat his kids. He was younger. Trust me, if Jeff Jarrett could have got her an AEW TV by now, he would have. You don't think he You don't think he would have hit her with a guitar in like Wembley or something if he could pull
Or she re-sings the theme to Bad Blood, you know.
or
There you go.
the angle I would do is you recreate China Jeff Jarrett, but Taylor Swift wins. You know, you have Taylor Swift and Jeff Jarrett,
Good housekeeper.
but
Oh my God.
wins. That
Put it on 0 hour.
bro, no, that's the main event of pay-per-view. Taylor Swift pitting Jeff Jarrett in an that is how Jeff Jarrett should retire. That's
I agree. That's a good way to go. It'll be the biggest thing in his career.
but you also and you give you make sure Jeff Jarrett wins the TNT title, you have Taylor Swift like
She
retire.
hits him with the guitar. She takes like her master records and slams him in the face with that. Scooter Braun is the special guest referee. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that would be a hell of a final
They
match.
could fight over a bracelet. That's our thing.
All right.
That's a nice tribute to China. I think that'd be a really funny final. That would be the one I think because that would be such a great way to go out. Like I wrestle Taylor Swift.
And AEW could say they have Taylor Swift.
Yeah, if he could, but I don't think he can pull it off. All right. Yeah, I don't think he can. He would have. Taylor Swift would be on AEW if he could make that happen. Okay. I mean, he would have probably also got her. He would have got her in some type of company if he could make it happen. Probably, I just don't think. I mean, TNA. I mean, I forget she was big 12 years ago. Man, she's been around a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
He could have got her in TNA, and she could have jobbed to Hogan.
Maybe she just really hates wrestling and wants nothing to do with it.
I mean, that's the smartest thing that she's ever.
It's like when Britney Spears, they tried to get her when they got Kevin Federline, and this is when Britney was not at her best.
Yeah,
she didn't want to do it.
No. Which that's the decision she made. She didn't even deserve a shit for that.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
Even when she was not in the best of mind, she was like, "I'm not Umaga. I'm not getting squashed."
And it would have been something like Umaga too. It wouldn't have been
It would have been. She would have got crushed by Umaga.
Made out with Vince.
Probably.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's what they would have done. All right. Now we go that the NWO is paid for promo time, and Zabisco just starts yelling, "I'm gonna give them their money." Shut the fuck up, Larry Zabisco, right? So now we go to the promo. Conan doesn't have the confidence he's going to have, so he's not as good. Buff Bagwell, Nash, it should have just been Nash talking and the other three just standing. Because you could tell Buff Bagwell's trying to copy what Scott Hall does. They're all trying to copy what Hogan and Hall brought, and it's just not the same. And they keep, I don't know, it's not as good as it was. I don't know. They're trying to recreate the vibes that Nash has with Shawn Michaels or Razor Ramon, and it comes off very forced. But I thought Nash was good in it. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I know it was fine. I thought it's interesting to show the teams of the NWO because it's not Hall and Nash, it's Savage and Hall, and then Bagwell, Conan, X6, Nash. So it seems like they're trying to just differentiate and get more people over, but you don't take them as seriously. I don't take Buff Bagwell seriously in the War Games match, and Conan's just there. But yeah, it was just NWO fodder to me.
Yeah, I think Nash wanted Conan around because I think Nash felt like Conan added the hitness to the act. It wasn't just a bunch of white guys approaching middle age. Here's a fucking Mexican, Spanish guy.
Ice Train in the NWO or something. He's a young black guy. He's
gotta work in an Ice Train. I mean, don't you don't you insult Conan, all right?
I love Ice Train.
I like Ice Train too, but he's no Conan. All right. And now comes a match which I was shocked. I gotta say, I was shocked how good this match was, man. Mortis and Wrath taking on the Faces of Fear. No Jimmy Hart automatically makes the match better. This is a hard-hitting match. This is for two heel teams in 1997. This Ming is having a pretty good low key. You guys haven't watched the shows that I watched with Andrew. Low key, because Ming had two matches with you saw one with Chris Benoit. Ming low key is having a fucking killer 97. I mean, he's like Jey Usoing it, but no one seems to care. He's every time they give it, he's fucking killing it. I really, really like this match. Kyle, your thoughts?
I was surprised too. I heard Wrath's music. I went, oh no. Like, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, here comes the downswing. Which they actually had his music, and they didn't have whatever dub version that time. Quick tangent: Chris Jericho had to break the walls down dub over for
Hmm.
whatever reason because I don't know what WWE does with their music rights. So back to Raft, it was yeah, I was surprised how good that match was. I was like getting ready to be like, well, here comes the downswing of the whole pay-per-view. Here's the Raph, Vanderbeek, all this stuff, Mortis, and it was good. They just beat the hell out of each other, and it was the right amount of time, and I was all for it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, again, like I know the crowd maybe wasn't super into it as they should have, but I enjoyed it personally. I know they've been I was looking it up. I guess they fought on TV quite a bit, so maybe just the crowd was burned out of the pairing, but this was probably their better match, right amount of time. I'm looking at the times here, but I believe about 12 minutes 22 seconds. So perfect length. I've noticed now with some of these WCW pay-per-views, like they start off with like a couple matches with a little more time, and then as they get towards the main event, they'll kind of trim the times a little bit of the matches. Like they're trying to play with the energies of the crowd. So yeah, perfect amount of time. This should not have been any longer. Maybe even like a couple of the matches could have taken a lesson from this and tighter times. But yeah, this is perfect. Good stiff match. You know, again, like yeah, Meng is they're giving guys a chance to run with it and just I don't know the crowd. I did see like the crowd picked up a little bit with the last few moments, but yeah, like Meng never really gets like a big moment in WCW. Like this was kind of like his kind of coming out party. But yeah, I wish they'd done more with him in the future.
Yeah, no, I really I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I was shocked. I was that just goes to show you the depth of this fucking roster. How did they lose to Los Pericos and the Headbangers? Anyway, they get destroyed. They get put out of business by the Headbangers, Kyle.
There's a 25-minute like retrospective on the Headbangers right now on the vault, which I don't know. They got 25 minutes out of it, but I'm excited for them.
Oh, by the way, I checked Shop WWE. There is a Headbanger shirt on sale for $10. I might
I
get it.
almost bought it while we were talking because I need house shirts. I need house shirts, and it's only $10. And I'm like, that's not that bad.
But they're not doing free shipping. But I might get it. I
It's
like.
on
$10.
sometimes
We
on
could all get
Mondays,
one.
I think like right after Raw on Mondays, they used to do a lot of. I don't know if maybe it's changed since Netflix did, but it used to be free shipping after Raw on Mondays.
TKO don't do free nothing.
No, they don't do anything now. Oh, another, if you're talking about shirts, I would check out tpublic.com. They have a lot of cool wrestling shirts, and they do have some, like, they have a really cool Andre the Giant shirt that has them, like, doing moves also. So I don't mean to stray away from TKO, I know, but yeah, check out tpublic.com.
I used to love T Public. I mean,
Public
I
does.
still do.
For this shit, which is they deserve it. They deserve something. All right, let's keep it going. God, the Headbangers. So um,
$10, man. Why not?
so Dean is in the locker room. The Horsemen. They cut a pretty good promo. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it with the three Horsemen. And then Tony Schiavone says something during the entrance of the next bout, which yeah, this makes sense. And like this could have been a story point that they never do. Tony goes, no one is stepping up to help WCW. If a member of the NWO went down, they replace him. Why can't another member of WCW take Eddie's place and someone to come forward? This is never followed up. But yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I, if you're fucking, I don't know, who just had a match, like the Giant, or you're like, why wouldn't you want like we gotta help Arn Anderson out? If you're the Giant, if you're fucking even like Jericho, like why would he be like, yeah, I'll come out? Like it's supposed to be this giant. They just no one ever does anything, and that's the other thing. Like all these guys, like why can't? Yeah, like that, and also like Lex Luger has a history with the Horsemen. It's like he brings that point up, but it's like that's a massive plot hole. That's why people are going not yet, but they're gonna turn off the show. Right? What do you think of the promo of Tony Schiavone's point?
No, you're right. I mean, it's just the time for my boy Ice Train to come in. But no, somebody that's not necessarily Ice Train. They could have done something. I think this was more Sting teasing that you think that Sting is going to be the person, especially with his history with the Horsemen, to actually come and save everybody. But we were not there yet. Sting was filming a movie or going through a divorce. He's going through a lot. 97 was not his year.
Not easier. He wasn't tanned enough to come out. So.
No,
Apparently. God.
Pratik, your thoughts on the horseman? What
I don't
Tony
know
said?
why they're teasing things that aren't going to happen, and it's only building to the crowd's disappointment at the end when nobody does come out. So it's why, yeah, I don't know why, unless he just, it's that thing of maybe he doesn't have like Bischoff the way like Vince is in announcers' ears, like he's kind of controlling the story. Maybe Tony was just like, oh, I'm just going to ask the logical question for the fans, but all it does is disappoint the fans. So yeah, I didn't really understand the point of it. And yeah, again, like you took out Luger and DDP from the war games, but then somebody's injured, so why can't they come back? And it's a whole, I don't know, it was starting to get a little convoluted to me. Like I got what they were trying to do. They were trying to add another match to the undercard, but then like somebody got injured. So I don't know. The logic was starting to bother me a little bit.
Yeah, because the thing about it is yeah, like if the Horsemen like took out Conan, the NWO is not just going to be like, all right, they'd have Vincent or Big Bubba Rogers or
Somebody
fucking
would.
S come out. Like they just would. Like it just doesn't make any, and it makes the NWO look smarter. Like we're not going to let anything stop us. We'll fucking get a jet for Hogan to come in if we have to win it. It makes them look so much smarter than WCW and again, again the NWO the whole entire time. The NWO is WWF coded, and if anyone says they're not, they're full of shit. And again, all it does is keep beating in your head, and they're doing this while they're destroying WWF. How much better WWF is? It's just I get angry. You know why I get angry? Because they should. There's no reason why they shouldn't still be around. There's no. All right, here we go. I have a W. Okay, the Giant versus Scott Norton. Um, Short and sweet. They have a big man hoss match. Giant wins 5 minutes. You know what? This is a lesson AEW could learn. Not every match needs to be a back and forth 20-minute match on pay per view. Sometimes give us a fucking. These two put together a great match in 5 minutes. It gets the Giant over huge. Scott Norton does a great job. Sometimes all you need is 5 minutes. And honestly, I feel like I got my money's worth with this match. Kyle, your thoughts?
Even with that, I mean, I thought the same thing because it was another one. I was like, oh no, but it was so fast. I was like, okay, cool. And it showcased Scott Norton's strength, and then the Giant. All it takes is one choke slam, boom, and he's got it. And he was healthy enough that he could have been in the War Games because he only had a 5 minute match, which we know we didn't really go to. But when you mentioned AEW, I'll never forget this. I was at AEW show in Bridgeport. And I actually had to leave because Rampage was too damn long. I thought Rampage was going to go by really quickly. They had one of Bear Country, which we don't really talk about them anymore for reasons, versus Wardlow. And I was like, Wardlow's just powerbombing everyone. This is going to take 2 minutes. This match had like a commercial break and it was like 15 minutes long. I'm
Oh my
like, are you
god.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Wardlow versus one of Bear Country? I need to go. I was like, no, I'm not sticking around for this. This should have been a 10-second match. Wardlow powerbomb or whatever he was, the powerbomb symphony. He should have just did that to both of them, and then we could have went on our way. But nope, it was a long ass match for no reason. So yes, they definitely need to do more of those 5 minute matches.
Yeah, a lot more 5 minute matches. All right, here's something that annoys me. I just remember they said this because again, I haven't watched these nitros. I need to watch more 97 nitros before they go away because I'll put on 98,
We didn't
99.
get Pratik's take on this either. I know I kind of went off the.
Your thoughts on
Yeah,
Scott?
again, like I like what they're doing with the Giant at this point. They're building him up with short matches. Again, that idea of just all it takes is one choke slam. Like again, like he's also building up to someone that he could credibly take on NWO and take on these guys. But then, it's that thing of you have these victories and then you need a payoff to them. And I think yes, I think more companies need short matches. I think WWE can have more short matches. You can illustrate a point through a short match. And I'd also think Scott Norton, who I've never been the biggest Scott Norton fan, but in hindsight, as an adult wrestling fan, I can say, oh, he was a good guy. He was a good technical guy who could maybe not a technical guy, but he used his strength. He knew his moves. He knew how to make guys look good worker that way. So yeah, props to everybody.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Sorry. You know what, guy? I didn't mean to interrupt you, critique, but I get so worked up sometimes by
Yeah,
WCW. There. So originally, Luger and DDP were in the War Games match.
they were. Yes.
So they're in the building, Ah, all right. So they're in the War Games match, but then they get taken out by Roddy Piper. They get another nothing. Ric Flair's being murdered. Uh, and now Luger and DDP versus Scott Hall and Randy Savage. A lot of storyline. The problem with this match is it's designed to get over Larry Zbyszko, not Lex Luger, who is the most over guy in the company, not DDP, your fastest rising star and a great fucking success story, but your commentator who doesn't shut the fuck up. Um, the finish comes. Zbyszko confronts Scott Hall. It takes forever. Hall keeps doing ooh, and Zbyszko keeps slowly trying to go in the ring and then not. Very bad. Luger rolls up. Hall does a fast count. Tony Schiavone goes, if the NWO can make up their own rules, so can we. Okay, so if you can make up your own rules, then why don't, when Ric Flair's getting beat up, they just be like, you know what, this match is now 14-on-4 and have the entire roster come out and beat the shit out of the NWO. But you make up your, it's just inconsistent. This match was all right. It's not the greatest. What you guys think? What you guys think, Kyle?
Oh man, it's definitely one of those matches that you would see like in Revenge or something, where you have someone, one of your friends is Savage and the other friend's Scott Hall, the other one's
That's
Luger
a
and
good.
DDP, and you're like, okay, I guess. But yeah, it was a weird match, definitely more for Sabisco than anybody else. That's very funny about the making up the own rules. They really should have. With more
Yeah,
hindsight, they could have had backstage segments where they're beating up Jericho, they attack the Giant, they do all this stuff. So like the baby faces that you think would actually come out and help the Harlem Heat. They're not, or Steiners. I don't remember who's the face team there. Probably the Steiners. That they're not available for A, B, and C. But
yeah,
they just didn't do that part.
yeah. They didn't do anything. Yeah, critique your thoughts.
Yeah, this was like you had like Hall of Fame players in this match, but it didn't really take off. It wasn't too long, so it wasn't like there was a lot of suffering. But yeah, it felt like this should have been. They could have structured this match differently. It could have been a good win for DDP and Luger as these like the shoot face kind of team that's kind of thrown together. And Luger needed a win after the Sturgis thing of he won the title in Detroit, which is where he's from too. He got that hometown win taken away literally week later on the pay-per-view, and then like what do you do with them afterwards? So this could have been a good singles, not a singles win, but this could have been a good win for the faces. And it just the roll-up didn't really work, and the Zbyszko stuff, it turned into like a car wreck, and it didn't need to be that complicated. This could have been, hey, let's do a hard-hitting match, the faces win. But again, this storyline swerve over complication, I think it turned fans off, and you could kind of tell like the crowd kind of, it felt like the crowd was losing interest. It was just there was too much chaos. So I like chaos sometimes, but it wasn't needed this
Yeah, and it's all building to build up Larry Zbyszko.
match. Yeah,
All right, so it's a week or two away, or maybe it already happened. The Raw where Vince McMahon goes to Brett, I can't honor the contract. You should go to WCW, right? And okay, I know I'm getting Bret Hart. I'm looking at this roster. You know, I should maybe I'll have Bret Hart be in the ring with Sting, or maybe I'll have Bret Hart help out Benoit. Hey, Benoit and Mongo and Flair got beat up. Bret Hart can save them. That's what we're building towards. It all builds to Bret Hart raising the hands of Larry Zbyszko. like it's just like, man, Kyle. It's like Vince is gonna hand you one of his biggest stars. I know. We'll use him as a special referee in the Larry Zbyszko match.
Is that what he's used for? I remember he fights Ric Flair or Mr. Perfect once, like
No,
sold out.
that's in sold out, but at Starcade
Oh
'97,
yeah, that's why he
it's
was
Sting and
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he comes out again because he's technically a referee from the night. Oh boy. Yep.
And the
Okay.
crowd's not. It didn't, whatever that was. It didn't work. Yeah.
I forgot he did that first. Ay, ay, ay.
All right, now we've got. Well, first we got a nice promo from Savage at the Halloween Havoc. So part of the contract, I found this out. Part of the contract for the last two Halloween Havocs, I don't know if in '98, obviously, it does. They don't have to adhere to it. Is that Savage has to be in a featured place because of the Slim Jim sponsorship. Because Conrad asked Eric Bischoff, why don't you just do Sting and Hogan at Halloween Havoc if you think that's your big event? He goes, well, Slim Jim, it was contractually obliged that Savage had to be featured. And now he's not in the main event. He has a big match with DDP, but I now understand why they did Hogan Piper to give a big match without spoiling the biggest match. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, Piper, because Hogan, Savage brought in the Slim Jim sponsorship, which paid them a lot of money. So, I like the little commercial though. It's a lot of fun. It's Savage at his best. You guys like the commercial?
It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have a sorry. I didn't think too much of it. Sometimes some of these ads, like ice ads, just kind of go over my head. I was like, all right, cool. And I just move forward. I didn't really think too much of it.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You're just.
I
What do you
like
say?
anything with Savage. I'm a Savage mark, so yeah, I like anything with Savage, anything with Slim Jim. I mean, again, this is sponsorship that I can tolerate, but tables that have Slim Jims on them, that's too.
Yes.
Uh,
And let me
also, Savage
clarify,
is
I'm
from.
not like yay ice ads, which I've said last week. It's just a commercial is a commercial to me
Yeah, I just
sometimes.
commercial, or even like they were doing for a while in WWE. They had like, oh, LA Knight, he won the Slim Jim Battle Royal, and then he was in a commercial, kind of doing what Savage did. You have Savage on the TV in the background, like that's fine. Like
Yes.
I don't mind superstars and commercials. I just the product placement. I've said I forget if I've said this on this podcast or a different wrestling podcast, but it's too busy. Like I don't mind one or two things on the mat. I kind of like what AEW did for a while with DraftKings in the corner, but like if the mat is so busy, it looks like a magic eye, and I can't even make out any of the ads. Why would I even care about any of the products? You know what I mean? Like have one thing in the center, that's fine. Maybe a couple things in the corner. But if there's 50 different logos on the mat, I'm not going to care about any of the products.
I will
Very
say
true.
WWE Halloween Havoc Slim Jim mats are the best sponsorship mats
Yeah,
ever. Like it's the best looking one. Yeah.
They
that's
look
fine.
awesome. I remember those.
And Slim Jim again has a history of wrestling, so I don't mind Slim Jim. It just I don't know. It shouldn't be on the. I just don't like it on the tables. It's kind of
Yeah.
Well,
Money in
okay.
the Bank. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when Seth Rollins grabbed that Money in the Bank, it said Cash App on it. And I'm just like,
It
what?
did.
Oh, it
That's
did,
how
didn't
that's
it?
how they are now. You get whipped into the Fatal Fury
The carrying,
turnbuckle. You
the
get hit
briefcase
with
he
the
carried did not have it, but the winning, the one he grabbed that said Cash App.
and the year before was one with the boys. Tiffany Stratton had like a vault, Money in the
Yes.
Bank and something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now we get to the main event. And for the we actually done a lot of talk about the main event before we got to it. And it starts off pretty good. I like Mongo. Benoit and Buff start the match, which I think is absolutely the right call. Buff is the type of guy, he'll rise to the occasion. You put him with someone good, he's going to be good. You put him with someone shitty, he's going to be worse than dog shit. And so putting them together was good start. They keep, the match keeps going. Flair gets in. The crowd is into this match. They are loving it. They are enjoying it. They're in for the ride. Kurt Hennig runs out. Oh my God, here we go. It's the Horsemen versus the NWO. They want it. They want it. And then Hennig turns on the Horsemen, and the crowd is deflated. And it keeps going. And it keeps going. And there's never a moment where you think the Horsemen are gonna turn it around. The moment Hennig turns on Flair, it is just a nonstop beatdown of Flair, Benoit, and Mongo. There is never a moment where Flair starts fighting off all four guys, which I think the crowd would have went nuts for, even if he did get nothing. They have Flair helpless. They have him in the cage door. And they're like, we're gonna slam the door on his head unless you surrender. And they finally go to okay, they surrender. The horsemen give up like bitches. And then they slam the cage door in Flair's head. And the crowd is just they're not booing, they're not cheering, they're just fucking pissed. And they're upset. And the show goes off the air. They don't even give themselves enough time to be like, this is horrendous. Like, that is Ric Flair. That is our guy. And he may never be the same again. His head, They're just the Nash grabs the mic, is just talking shit until the end, and then it just goes off the air, and it's not even like given like not even given the proper moment to sink in that they just slammed the door on Ric Flair's head. And what's going to happen to this guy? And it's bad. It's not good. It's bad. It's the wrong kind of heat. I would have called it. I don't know if it was too late to call an audible, but I would have had Luger come out. I would have had DDP come out. It just it was a bridge too far for these fans, and it gets uncomfortable watching because you know that, and these guys will never admit it. National, they're killing the company on live TV. They're killing the Golden Goose. They're giving Vince everything he wanted on live television, and I think everyone should watch it as a case study in how to kill a crowd and how to make sure nobody comes back to your show. But overall, I thought it was not a good main event, and it left a sour taste in my mouth, and it kind of discolors the whole show. Kyle, what do you think of this match?
It's one swerve too many. I think the thing that stood out for me then stood out for me now. 'Cause I was watching with my brother, was how you could have really made a star. And I guess in hindsight, it's a good thing you didn't. Chris Benoit, because the way he starts the match and the way he is just being the rabid Wolverine, fighting off as much as he can. Like I said, even when he was in the handcuffs, like climbing the handcuffs to try and pull them, climbing the cage to try and pull himself out and do whatever he could to protect Ric Flair and fight for the Horsemen. Really could have done something with that, and that did not happen. Which is unfortunate for or not again. Once again, given who it is. But yes, it was one swerve too many. People did not want to see this. People wanted another loss for the NWO, like a significant loss, like a significant damage to the NWO, and you did not get it. You did not get it, and we go through this for maybe another couple of months until Sting, and we all know what happens there. But
Mm-hmm.
this was it. People were starting to get fatigued. You're getting a year of this now. This is now a full year since the last War Games of just the NWO dominance after dominance after dominance. People are starting to get tired.
And I think people have been okay with this if Flair and Henning had a bloody brawl. Let's say Starcade for the some main events is Flair versus Henning, and Flair destroys Henning. Maybe you put him in a steel cage, and Flair slams the door on Henning's head. You know,
Yeah.
I think people would have went nuts for it, but they just have two mid matches, and then they just drop it. There's no resolution. Flair should spend the rest of his time in WCW. Like if he sees Henning in a hallway, just fucking trying to murder him.
I think
And
more wrestling storylines should be like that. Somebody you got a blood feud with, you're just like, hey, fuck off every time you
this
see
is
them.
what Henning did. This causes for like Ric Flair to burn down Henning's house, like the Hangman. Like it should have been that, and this should have been the kickoff of because we know these guys have good chemistry, and they don't do that. They
Mm.
just stop it and critique your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought this would have led to some sort of like big feud between Flair and Henning, and they definitely had the chemistry. They both are workhorses, technically speaking. It could have been you could have had the technical match, you could have had the blood feud match, you could have had the just the finisher match. Like there could have been a little more offense. Again, like you could have also had like let the NWO get their heat and handcuff anybody. Somebody could have come down to kind of save it. It still could have been NWO wins, get their win in the Horseman backyard. But I think the fans, the crowd, the live crowd, the fans at home, they need something, some sort of send them home happy. You could have had them win, but still had somebody come in and just punch Kevin Nash or something. Arn could have come down and just punch somebody or something. Like something could happen. The fans were calling, wanting somebody, and nobody came out. And it was teased multiple times throughout the pay per view that maybe somebody will come out, somebody will turn. It again. There's too much. Like I get oh, you want to put heat and it'll lead to something, but I think just people lost interest. It definitely, you could feel again lead balloon, and the way they just cut away immediately, well, we're going straight to the credits, it's too much, because it's a shame, because the match itself, until the turn happens, match was fine. I'm a Bears fan coming from Chicago, so it's nice to see McMichael get some offense, and I forgot how he wasn't the greatest wrestler, but he did his job and he had some cool moves. So it was cool to see that for me because that part I had kind of forgotten. And again, yeah, you have someone like Benoit who's the crowd is getting on his side. The crowd wants to like a new babyface. Obviously, we know what happened with Benoit. That's fine, but at the time, the crowd was behind these young guys who become these big players in another country and another company. And I wish WCW had done more with that. I think Bischoff bungled a lot of potential talent, and then they all just left. So yeah, Bischoff kind of botched it.
Let me tell you how bad this finish is. So I listen to Bischoff's podcast because I like to punish myself, and he has defended the Sting thing. He's defended the finger poke of doom. He's defended Arquette winning the belt. Everything is a great move.
What did he say for Arquette winning the belt? What was his defense for that?
I don't know, but I kind of also, you know what? I kind of like the fact that Arquette won the belt. And I do think at this point it was a little too late for that to make a difference. So, like, I think Courtney Cox could have won the belt next, though.
Yeah.
This is how bad this finish is in the aftermath. This he says was a major mistake, having this finish, and he never admits to mistakes. He will never be like, I made a mistake. This, he says, was a major mistake. That's how bad this finish is in the aftermath. Just, yeah. So that's how bad it is. You know?
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a mistake, and it's not the beginning of the end. And like I said, NWO fatigue is starting to set in. Started a little bit earlier with Road Wild, and it's getting more. And without jumping too ahead, we have that amazing cage match. So there's gonna be more NWO fatigue after that.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. Speaking of shitty finishes, though, WWF saw this finish and said, "Hold my beer," because they got one next week. Next week, it's one night only with one of the most controversial main event finishes of all time. Only topped by what happens in November. Shawn Michaels.
I was going to say maybe now, but one of them.
Yeah, but I mean, like, people. That's another finish that left a bad taste in people's mouth. But we'll get to that. But they survived it somehow. Then in 2 weeks, it's Bad Blood with a show that has a fantastic finish. It's Undertaker is Shawn Michaels and Hell in a Cell. 3 weeks, Halloween Havoc 97. We're back in WCW. And we got Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan, Age in a Cage. And then in 4 weeks, it's the big one. It is the turning point. I'm convinced it's the WWF. This is the road to where they are today. Survivor Series 97, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. That is the next 4 weeks. Kyle, what are you looking forward to, man?
Still right now, one night only. I don't remember. I only know the terrible, terrible show. I mean, the terrible, terrible ending. And I don't know anything else. I don't really mess with the European pay-per-views. I've said that before. So I want to see. I want to see what they do.
Pratik, what are you excited for, brother?
Every week there's something different because the UK pay-per-view I've never seen that pay-per-view. I've seen a different UK pay-per-view again, like just watching the crowd, that'll be interesting. Halloween Havoc, I remember bits and pieces of the main event, but it'd be nice to go back and watch the full show. I know the undercard, there's some classics on the undercard, and then obviously Bad Blood I want to really kind of get into, and then obviously Survivor Series. So yeah, I think we have our work cut out for us, guys. There's some good weeks coming soon.
Every week there's something to talk about. Every week, next 4 weeks, so much excitement. This is one of the most exciting. This little era, September to November. I'll go this era. Because there's like a lull. No, it's not a lull because WCW has a thing. This era is there's so much going on every day. Every day there's something exciting going on. And I love like listening to podcasts about it, and I love talking about it because this is such an exciting era. There's so many things that even if it's bad, it's fun to talk about. So it's going to be a really fun week. So I'm excited you guys are with me. Hopefully Seth Rollins will pass away before we get to Survivor Series.
I don't approve of that.
No, don't put me on that.
No. I went to his coffee shop, by the way. He's got a decent coffee shop in Davenport, Iowa.
Well, I think I just got banned from there. So, Kyle, what do you have to plug?
What do I have to plug? Character select is not till November 22nd because we are graciously letting the New York Comedy Festival take all of the shine. Because that's what a good independent show does.
Yeah, very independent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what. No, but in all seriousness, our 9 year anniversary is going to be on November 22nd. 9 years of the show. Ray was on the very first character select, which is
Oh wow.
awesome. Um, so I'll be building to that. Outside of that, little shows here and there that I unfortunately don't have the dates for. So I'm kind of gonna be in like, you know how there's like no WrestleMania and there's like Backlash and No Mercy or whatever.
Yeah,
That's me right now.
you're in
I
your No
kind of,
Mercy. You're in your
yeah, I kind of have my little No Mercy era where there's like no Big Four, and I can hopefully put that time back in me.
Critique, what do you have to plug for, brother?
Yeah, October 31st. I'm at this is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'll be helping guest judge King of the Castle, which is a great mic showcase that Chris Screever runs up in Pittsburgh. And then November 1st, Beaver County, Pennsylvania. I'm headlining a show. And then November 2nd, I'll be in West Virginia. I don't know the name of the show for that, but that's at 8 p.m. in West Virginia. All those dates are on my website, prateek comedy.com. Also, my Instagram, at Prateek Comedy. And then I have a few other shows coming up in November. I just don't have all the details yet. So just follow me on Instagram and you'll get all my dates. And I also have a YouTube page on there too. And support these guys as well. Yeah. Support live comedy, guys. You know.
Support the podcast, Goots Wrestling Pod. Leave us some comments. Yeah, fucking Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok. And that's it, guys. We will see you next week. We're going to be in the UK and we're going to celebrate British Bulldog sisters dying of cancer at one night only.
Why do you end it that way?
It's such a weird
Dedicate the show to her. It's true. All right? That's how they
Okay.
ended their show. So we will see you then. Thank you so much, guys.